always interested in the power of breath. And when you look at breathing from a behavioral science perspective, it's just amazing. I mean, of course, breathwork is very powerful. People who try breathwork, they find it very powerful. It's amazing, especially the first session. You're kind of like, what just happened to me? Your first conscious connected breathwork session. And it doesn't even matter which breathwork technique you're using, because it just happens, every time, because of the power of breath itself, that neutral, amazing healing energy itself. When you find the truth behind what's going on, you start speaking the same language. And all the research I've been doing and he's been doing, we were like, yeah, this is it. And my journey with breathwork breathing techniques started 25 years ago when I was a yoga teacher. I started my journey, of course, with personal reasons, because I was feeling in my 20s, in my early 20s, I kind of was feeling a bit lost. I did not have a deep connection with life. I didn't have the awareness I had right now. So it was kind of there were a lot of question marks, and I didn't know about my mission, who I was. So I was kind of living in a very conditioned world. And then I started thinking to myself, I want to go on a journey to, find myself, find who I really am and what I want to do with my life. And I'm lucky enough because I went on this journey in my 20s. Most people I know don't go on that journey until they're 50. And I just consider myself lucky because of that. And I told to myself, I need to spend more time with myself. Not taking good care of myself, but really trying to understand myself. Who am I and what's my mission here? What is this all about? So I started meditation. And after meditation, I started yoga. And in yoga, I started pranayama, breathing techniques. And I was, always interested in the power of breath. Then I finished Art of Living, the whole procedure of Art of Living. I loved Sudarshan Kriya. I loved connected breathing. And then I wanted to learn more about conscious connected breathing. And I started getting trainings on breathwork. I got trainings from many schools. I tried different schools. And then I thought in those years, transformational breathing was the path for me. So I continued with transformational breathing school. I became a facilitator and then a trainer. I worked with TB group, and I invited Judith and the whole team to Turkey, and we did seminars and organizations for a long time. And then after a while, I started thinking, I need to go on my own journey, because there were other stuff I wanted to teach. I was in a journey of not only conscious breathing, but also conscious thinking. Because of my meditation practice, it evolved in a different way. I think it evolved in a different way than many breath workers, because I was doing meditation an hour every day, morning and evening. And that kept me kind of very much grounded. And it's with that grounding, something else started happening. So I became very conscious about my thoughts, how my thoughts were creating my life. So then after that, I wanted to go deeper into thinking habits and breathing habits. And I started working with Breathing Sciences faculty. I founded Breath Coaching Federation a while ago, 10 years ago. And at that time, I was doing retreats. I was teaching breath work. I was also helping people figure out their dysfunctional breathing and thinking habits and working with them. I just finished a breath work, meditation, and mind transformation retreat I've been leading for over 15 years now. I just finished it. It was last week with 100 people. And it's been a while since I didn't do live breathwork retreats for 5 days for 100 people. So I feel a bit physically shaken right now.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, it's intense. I mean, 5 days of breathwork, mind work, transformation.
Awesome.
So I started many years ago. I started organizing retreats, breathwork retreats and trainings. And then we started seeing we started having a little bit of a problem with the Turkish government because of their point of view, let me say. So with the Breath Coaching Federation, we started working with the government, creating standards, and worked with them like 5 years. We got 50 no's and then 5 yeses, and we were able to create a job that is called breath coaching in Turkey, which is now legal because it wasn't legal many years ago. Now there are more than 2,000 breath workers in Turkey right now, which is brilliant. I've been traveling around the world, teaching, organizing retreats, doing seminars. Like you said, I've been focusing on dysfunctional breathing habits for a long time. And when you look at breathing from a behavioral science perspective, it's just amazing. I mean, of course, breathwork is very powerful. People who try breathwork, they find it very powerful. It's amazing, especially the first session. You're kind of like, what just happened to me? Your first conscious connected breathwork session. And it doesn't even matter which breathwork technique you're using because it just happens, every time because of the power of breath itself, that neutral, amazing healing energy itself. But the thing is, when you dive deep into understanding what breathing is and what dysfunctional breathing habits are and how it affects our mental well-being and our physical well-being, it's just amazing. It's like if we were able to really in detail tell the world on a scientific level, I mean, I'm doing my best. All of us are, doing our best. But if we could tell it to millions of people, how important it is and what causes dysfunctional breathing habits and what are the symptoms behind these habits, how we could all stay healthy and well just by figuring our breath out, just by learning to breathe healthier and breathe better, the whole world will just stop. Take time and just do breath work every day and take time to really understand what they're doing with their breathing. It's just amazing what can happen when you have a dysfunctional breathing habit and when you heal that breathing habit, as you also know.
Yep. Wait, I think you're breaking up just a little bit. Hold on. Okay, there you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we came at around the same time. I was also in my 20s when I started yoga, and the funny thing is, I had no idea that I was missing that component in my life of feeling connected to myself. And it took that one aha moment one day in yoga with 3 deep breaths where I finally, like you just said, it's like sometimes that one time where I felt fully connected to myself. And the truth is, then I did go on to take yoga teacher training back in 1995, but I was a busy entrepreneur. I didn't teach yoga. I just used it every day for so many years. And now with people like you who have studied the neuroscience and the behavioral science, I find it fascinating to hear these updated studies too, and say like, oh, now I understand that's why that worked when I did that. Or I never really understood the how, but I knew that every time I breathed in a certain way and made myself feel a certain way because of that, calming or balancing or boosting, that it worked because it is science. It's neuroscience. It's not yoga or, weird abstract stuff. And that's what's so exciting these days because people need it more than ever. And now it is backed by science and people like you that have that deep background on the research and the neuroscience. I think it's wonderful what you're doing to help explain that side of the process. And do you want to talk about a little bit like of the evolution from the past 25 years?
Yeah,
it's
sure.
changed with the growth of technology too. And so how have you seen the way people breathe change along with the way that we've been connected to devices?
Yeah, I want to also start from like my journey and how it evolved, because it's also interesting. It's like when you dive deep into anything, you start finding amazing stuff. So it's like for me, breath work, yoga, meditation. I'm still a classic Vedic meditation teacher and all that, but it's like with breath work, very strange things happen in breathwork sessions. People see visions and people see places and they feel things and think a different way. And many people talk about breathwork, the effect of breathwork, and many people think the effect of breathwork is equals to psychedelic effect, because you tap into different levels of consciousness. You find yourself in a limitless empty space and very creative space. It's like very strange things happen.
In what modality?
It's like your whole body becomes in almost all modalities, even with yogic, like with Kapalabhati, it's like you start feeling numbness and tingling, and it's like conscious connected breath work, coherent breath work, TB, rebirthing, Wim Hof. It's like very strange things start happening in your system, metabolism, physiology, chemistry. So because I tried many breath work techniques and I was amazed at the power of breath and what it's doing to our whole system, I was kind of like, why is this happening right now? Like, what's really going on? And there were a lot of explanations because different schools explain it in a different way. Like some schools say there is transformation happening, negative energy transforming. Some schools say some trauma release. Other schools say another thing. But it was like, for me, I think that's because I studied physics and chemistry and biology like all my life. And I was more scientific, like my whole mind thinks more scientific than many people. And I was like, yeah, but I want to really know what's going on. Like, what's going on in my brain? What's going on in my blood? What's going on in my heart and my whole system? Chemistry, like what's going on with my chemistry? And then it's a very funny story, because I literally sat down and finished more than 100 books on respiratory science in a year, in less than a year, because I was so excited about the power of breathwork and I just wanted to know more, like what's going on. And I studied at school, like respiration. I already knew what was going on, but I wanted to dive into more, chemistry. And then I started talking about dysfunctional breathing habits and how it affects our physiology in a more mechanic way. Like I was doing lectures on like how diaphragmatic breathing was affecting us, or how shallow breathing or chest breathing, or all kinds of breathing habits on the more mechanic level. But I was talking about dysfunctional breathing habits. Then I met Peter Litchfield, and we started talking to each other. We started doing some meetings, and I was interested in his work. And he was like, you know what? You are the first breath worker I ever met who has been speaking about dysfunctional breathing habits like we're speaking about dysfunctional breathing habits. It was kind of like, with all of the research I've been doing and with all of the research Breathing Sciences School has been doing, we kind of like found the same thing. I was more on the mechanic level and doing research on the mechanic level, and they were doing, a lot of research with capno trainers and capno wearers, but we were seeing the exact same thing. And then that's why we started working together, and I became the vice president responsible for UK operations and European operations of Behavioral Health Sciences School. And then I became a faculty member at Breathing Sciences School and started doing research to get together. And it's just amazing when you find something, when you find the truth behind what's going on, you start speaking the same language. And all the research I've been doing and he's been doing, like we were like, yeah, this is it. And mainly, so the thing with dysfunctional breathing habits so first of all, a breathing habit is a behavioral habit. So it is learned. Most of the time it is learned unconsciously. You learn breathing habits without even recognizing that you have a breathing habit. And we learn breathing habits for certain reasons, but most of the people I worked with, I have realized that they've learned breathing habits to change their psychology. So it's kind of like, just imagine a time when you were 5 years old and a relative died and there is too much pain and crying and everybody's in pain. and it's too much for your heart and it's too much for your body, you just change your breathing to change your psychology, and then your body learns a habit. Or, for example, if you experience some anxiety or panic and you want to overcome that, you start changing your breath. So there are different reasons why we change our breath. But the thing is, like any behavioral habits, like tics people have, like the way I hold my hand, the way I eat, the way I walk, my physiology learns breathing habits, and they get triggered without even recognizing. And most of the symptoms people experience nowadays, the common symptoms like anxiety, panic attack, too much stress, chronic pain, especially on the shoulders and neck, headaches, migraine, ADD, ADHD, has a lot to do with how we are breathing. And basically what happens when breathing habits get triggered is that our body fluid chemistry changes. And when our body fluid chemistry goes too much alkaline, we start experiencing symptoms. Or when it goes acidic, we start experiencing different symptoms. And a balanced, as most people know, a balanced body fluid pH is very important. And I see many people, and like I said, I'm a classic Vedic meditation teacher as well. I teach meditation, I promote meditation, I have been meditating for a long time. And I think meditation is also a very important tool because it relaxes the whole body and your breath. It balances the whole system, like the sympathetic, parasympathetic, the system, the whole system. But the thing is with breathing, before we have a healthy breathing habit, I don't think we can go deeper into our meditation practice as well, because it's kind of like there will be something holding you from going deep into meditation or deep into balance. Mm-hmm. And for me, with all the research and with all the work I've been doing on the mental level, physical level, on the pH level, and also in, when we speak about the thinking habits, balance is the key. Mm-hmm. So I basically, with all the research I've been doing and work I've been doing and teaching to tens of thousands of people, now I'm at a stage, nearly 50, only teaching balance, because balance is the key, like mental balance, which means thinking in a balanced way. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are trying to be positive nowadays, and it's affecting our mental health because thinking, first of all, it's not possible to think positive all the time. Second of all, your whole system, even your body fluids or your body needs balance. And a balanced pH is a combination of alkaline and acidic, and a balanced thinking habit, a balanced mind. A healthy mind is a mind which thinks in a balanced way. A breathing habit also, a healthy breathing habit is also a habit which is balanced, which balances the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system. So, I've been teaching balance, and I've been leading people into balance, thinking balanced, breathing balanced for a long time now. And I find it easier to lead people into breathing techniques like coherent breathing, mm-hmm. Where you work on the inhale and work on the exhale. And when we come back to the world we're living in right now, first of all, I don't have to tell this to anyone. It's obviously fast. It's obviously, it's all about consuming products in a matter of minutes, consuming information in a matter of minutes. So the whole social media and technology, like everything is so fast. And it is, when I look at back in the past and nowadays, it is much more easier to lose our balance. And health, physical and mental health, equals to balance. So I see a bigger problem than most people see. Because of my expertise, I see a bigger problem than most people think. Not because we have technology in our lives, not because we're living fast, but because we are not tuning in, because we are not stopping between that fast pace and connecting with ourselves and creating that balance, because balance is kind of like, I'm going to give an example with breathing and dysfunctional breathing habits. It's like if we were able to breathe slowly, very slowly during the whole time, like during the whole day, or slow and shallow and chill, that would definitely cause many health problems. Mm-hmm. But if we were breathing fast the whole day, that would cause many problems as well, because our body, our whole respiratory system needs both. Mm-hmm. There are times when our body needs a more calm breathing habit, for example, going to sleep, reading a book, resting. There are times when our body needs a more fast breathing habit, like when we're running. So when we teach stuff like, slow breathing is better and fast breathing is this, and it's kind of like, I think we lose our balance, because balance happens in between everything we're experiencing. So a healthy breathing habit, a healthy mental habit is a balanced breathing habit, and a balanced mental habit, and a balanced psychology, a balanced parasympathetic and a sympathetic system. Mm-hmm. And if we are great that technology and everything is fast. I love it. It's kind of like I can just Google anything I want, and I can research and find out anything I want. But with that fast pace, I am also slowing down in my own system. It's like I've been experiencing, to keep that balance, I am in my inner being much more slow than I was many years ago. Mm-hmm. And that is the thought nowadays. It's like we need true. That slow, pace.